We've got some issues to resolve. We've got to address the loss of property tax base. 2012 taxes on that farm, $416,000. Of course, we lost the occupation tax base. We knew that, but 15,000 acres roughly from the occupation tax, and if it was $10 an acre, that's $150,000. That would go a long ways, you know, toward helping with some of the project, but we can do without that because we're getting the long-term benefit. Again, I mentioned the bonds earlier, and here I got the correct date for the Republican Basin, June 30, 2013. I'm going to quickly cover some other issues, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. What we're doing with some of these irrigation districts out in that area, we've basically run into 4 different options. We have worked out with some of these irrigation districts. Option 1 is complete buyout by the NRD, and that option was used with that Riverside Canal down in the Middle Republic, and do a 50-50 buy-in with the NRD, joint management. Third one, interlocal cooperative agreement between the canal company and the NRD after a canal company converts to an irrigation district, and we'll cover that here in a little bit. And then we've got a management lease agreement, 99-year management lease agreement with the canal company. A lot of these are in Dawson County on the Platte, and we'll cover those real quick. Here's a map of Dawson County. Gothenburg is up toward the west end of that. Overton is down here. Lexington is up at the top of the, or about in the middle of that map. But the Gothenburg, Cozad, Lexington area in the Platte River, that's where these canal companies are. The red is the 30-mile canal, and they're certified acres there. The orange is the Orchard Alfalfa Canal, which is right up here, just straight south of Cozad. The blue is Cozad Canal on the north side of Cozad, which diverts out of Gothenburg, out of the Platte River at Gothenburg. And then this yellow is way up here, just south of Gothenburg, the 6-mile canal. The other shaded areas you see around that, up above the yellow, those are MPPD's canals for Gothenburg Canal and Dawson County. And then there's some other acres down below, and those are from Central Nebraska Public Power. Talked about the Riverside. One canal we did in Dawson County is a 6-mile canal. Completely bought that out 2011 or 2010 is when that deal was reached. That canal, you see some before and after photos. The canal was really only got about a mile away from the river, so it really didn't provide that much recharge. So it was more beneficial just to close the canal. And that's a before picture and an after picture in the same location. I can tell you the farmers in that canal, we closed on November 14th of 2010 at 11:30. We took them to lunch. We were done with lunch at 1. They had payloaders and tractors out there closing that canal at 1:30 that afternoon. 2/3 of that canal was closed by Thanksgiving. The farmers were very anxious to get rid of that canal because 80% of them didn't use the water anymore, and it's in their way. And they didn't want to do the maintenance on the canal anymore, so they were more than anxious just to get it closed. Benefits of the project: water went back to the river, saved some farmers fuel and labor costs. The canal no longer cuts through the middle of their farms. They can farm straight through. They can now use the technology of their cell phones to operate their pivots. When they were pumping water out of the canal, they couldn't do that because you couldn't shut the water off at the surface water supply with your cell phone. The county was very happy because we improved the roads, got rid of the hazards. If you go back to this picture right here, the canal was actually only about 15 inches away from the edge of the road, and there was no barriers to keep anybody from running in that. No bridge railings or anything. And everywhere that canal crossed a road, it was that close to the road. So what was allowed with this agreement, these acres were not retired. These were farmers were able to water with groundwater. So we maintained all the irrigated acres, but we added 130 acre-feet of water back to the river by switching them over to groundwater rather than surface water. Cozad Canal was a canal on the north side that diverts out of Gothenburg, runs north of Cozad. This was a management lease. Lease to the NRD, 117 cubic feet per second. The NRD transfers and leases the water rights to the Platte River Recovery Program. Canal Company still delivers the irrigation water. All we took was the excess water that they no longer needed. Here was a situation again where they had roughly 75% of their service area was already using groundwater wells. So they don't need all that water anymore. All the maintenance and operation costs are shared 50-50. The income is shared 50-50 as well between the NRD and the canal company. You can see part of what their problem was, and it was the similar problem as the 6 Mile Canal, is the farmers didn't want to put the money into the maintenance of the canal anymore. The 6 Mile didn't look like this, but most of this Cozad Canal is covered in trees. As you can see from this location before shot, you can see down the canal maybe 50 yards. The rest of it is covered in trees. And so the other part of their problem was beavers were getting in here and damming up the canal, but they couldn't see them because they're all in a forest. And so what we're doing is we're coming in and we're cleaning out the canal, taking all the trees off so they can do their maintenance. Easier to do maintenance and also provide that recharge benefit that we're looking at. This is the same location. This will be, we're in our second year of clearing out the trees. We should be done at the end of 2013 and have most of those trees cut out on that whole canal system. Two other canals, 30 Mile on the south side, they divert up by close to Brady, which is west of Gothenburg, and they run the canal down to almost Lexington. They were in a similar situation. 75% of their users are switched over to groundwater already. This is where we have a 50-50 investment. We purchase 50% of the canal. NRD owns 50%. The canal company owns the other 50%. Doing similar things, transfer and leasing excess flows. We still deliver the irrigation water. The excess flows go back to the Platte River and are credited toward all those goals that we have in there. Maintenance and operation and income is all shared 50-50. South side, Orchard Canal, straight south of Cozad. This is the management lease agreement. The canal company wants to convert to an irrigation district and then do an interlocal agreement and go into a 50-50 through an interlocal agreement. With these 4 canals, what have we got? Our initial costs are $5.8 million. Potential acre feet to the water, 5,000 to 20,000. Cost per acre foot of the water, $1,172. And all these acres, all the acres that were irrigated by surface water are now irrigated by groundwater. There's no reduction in irrigated acres through these projects. But those are the benefits that we're going to receive or projected to receive. Now another big one I'm going to talk to you about that you've heard late last fall or earlier in the fall was an offer from Twin Platte and Central Platte to the Central Nebraska Public Power District. Brown Caldwell did an engineering study, a pre-feasibility study on converting their canals to recharge projects and allow irrigators to use groundwater instead. And roughly from the data that's available, 75% of the 112,000 acres that Central applies has in their surface water delivery area, 75% of them already have a groundwater and are using it rather than their surface water. Again, no reduction in irrigated acres. The two NRDs have offered to help out financially. So what are we talking about numbers of amount of water? The annual water diversion for Central out just east of North Platte is a little over 1 million acre feet. They got about 47,000 returns through Jeffrey, which is south of Brady, 547,000 acre feet returns through J2 south of Lexington. The loss right now to seepage and lake evaporation prior to getting to the irrigation delivery area, 250,000 acres, 57,000 acres. Amount diverted to their irrigation system, 235,000 acre feet of water. And again, that's for 112,000 acres. How much do they lose before they get to those? 138,000 acre feet of water out of the 235 is lost before it gets delivered. Farm deliveries are 97,000 acre feet per year. What it equates to is 9% of that diversion. The consumptive use requirement, 71,000 acre feet per year. So it's the efficiency of their delivery system is about 41%. Here's put it in a pie chart on the total million acre feet. You can see the crop consumption 6% of the diversion. So there's an opportunity here to do something with retiming their system. The benefits on doing this, converting it over to a recharge system, we can gain estimated up to 150,000 acre feet of water back to the Platte River, maintaining all the irrigated acres. Save water in McConaughey for recreation, another key charge for the NRDs. We use the canals for recharge, keep the canals in place, but use them for recharge. Maybe you don't put the water in there in the summertime, you put it in during fall or early spring. You don't need quite as much, recharge that groundwater table. Provide water for domestic users downstream. Lincoln, Omaha want water. Columbus, all the communities along here want water, especially after last year's drought. In the model that was ran, power generation was increased. Again, no reduction in irrigated acres. And here's the key thing, to get the same benefit of getting 150,000 acre feet of water back to the river, we'd have to retire over 300,000 irrigated acres right next to the Platte River to get that same benefit. With this proposal, there's no reduction in irrigated acres, but you get 150,000 acre feet of benefit. With that, I'll end, and we've got 15 minutes for Q&A.